Hey, what's up guys? It is Slikk here. I'm back again with another video, and this one going to be talking about the Injustice 2 character roster, which has been revealed, I guess, not like, announced or anything, but you can see that there's 28 slots on the main menu page, so they're in. Only about a third of the characters have been revealed, and with the game, coming out hopefully in a few months, like 4 months hopefully, that means that there's a lot of characters that are going to be revealed here shortly. So let's talk about the confirmed characters for the game, and that is Aquaman, Atrocitus, Batman, Blue Beetle, Deadshot, Gorilla Grodd, Harley Quinn, Supergirl, and Wonder Woman, all confirmed for the game. And I'm pretty sure that's a complete list at this point of who is confirmed. There have also been some characters that have been heavily revealed, or we have a heavy suspicion that they're going to be in the game. Those characters include The Flash, okay, who was in the trailer, who was in the reveal trailer, and by the way, in the main poster of the game. Many people are speculating, from what I've seen online, the story is going to be much like, the first Injustice was Batman versus Superman. This one's going to be Batman versus The Flash, and The Flash on, the Bat Earth, as we can call it, is going to be continuing the will of that Superman. So that's certainly a possibility and something to look at, and it is something I noticed in the poster. It's Batman versus The Flash, which is sort of an odd choice unless that's something that's significant to the story. So that's something I consider. But The Flash is definitely going to be in Injustice 2 as a character. He just has not been announced yet. Also, Captain Cold and Dr. Fate. The logo of Dr. Fate, or the helmet, I suppose we can call it, and Captain Cold appeared on the t-shirt, the promotional Injustice 2 t-shirt. At that point, why would they be on the Injustice 2 t-shirt if they weren't going to be in the game? So Captain Cold and Dr. Fate have a high likelihood of appearing in the game, so that's something definitely to consider. Let's also talk about characters that, in my view, are gimmies. I have them under my gimme section on this Word document, and characters like that are Green Lantern, or Hawkman or Hawkgirl, or Shazam. Those are three that I have on here. I think that they're going to be in the game. They haven't been announced yet. They haven't really been excessively teased by Ed Boon on Twitter necessarily. But there's going to be a Green Lantern in Injustice 2. I just don't see how there isn't. Okay, I don't know who it's going to be. If it's Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart, Simon Baz, Jessica Cruz, there's the two more, and Rebirth that have taken the forefront. Now, just like we see, Injustice, the first Injustice, having a lot of influence from the New 52, that may be possible that Rebirth has an influence on this game. Maybe less so because, by the time that Rebirth actually hit, the game already had a trailer out for it. So maybe not as much, but we'll see who the Green Lantern is going to be. But again, I don't see a world where there's no Green Lantern in this game at all, if not just like Sinestro or something like that. I just think there's going to be. Also, I think Green Arrow is going to be in the game. I do think so. And again, Hawkman or Hawkgirl. Hawkgirl was in Injustice 1. I find it a little bit odd that Hawkgirl was in there and not Hawkman. And by the way, if you're not reading The Death of Hawkman in Rebirth, I highly recommend it. It's a great series, and issue 4 just came out today as I'm recording it. So, also Shazam. I think Shazam's going to be in the game. He's had a pretty big presence recently in DC. Also in animation, there was that Justice League War animated movie that Shazam was in. Otherwise, he hasn't been in the Justice League as of late, but he's a great character, of course, and I think he's going to be in the game. Also, Martian Manhunter or Miss Martian. Again, I don't know which one they'll try to go with, but I think that either one of them is going to be in the game, and that's kind of a gimme that somebody from Mars is going to be in the game. Whether it's a green or a white Martian, we'll find out here shortly, and that is either Martian Manhunter or Miss Martian. So, now let's get into characters I think are also somewhat likely, and by somewhat likely, I mean maybe not 50%, maybe a little higher than 50%. I think that they're reasonably likely, not somewhere in the realm of more likely than not. And I'll give you an example. I mean, Red Hood, who's been teased by Ed Boon substantially on Twitter. I think that he's going to be in the game. It's a reasonable likelihood he's going to be in there. I think Spawn's probably going to be in the game, unfortunately. I don't want him to be in the game because, again, for the reason I've talked about before, and I've made a rant about this in the past, I can name you hundreds and hundreds of amazing DC characters that would be great in this game, and there's only 28 slots, 34 or 36 with DLC. And that's just not enough. Again, there's so many amazing DC characters. The notion that you need to draw from other properties like Image Comics or, in this case, they're talking about, Power Rangers and I don't know. I mean, it's just, to me, it seems it's insulting in a way to the DC continuity that there's hundreds of amazing characters, and it's very odd to me that we can have Spawn in the game, but we can't have all the characters that have been deconfirmed by Ed Boon. There's been quite a few of them. There's like a whole list of DC characters that Ed Boon has straight up said not happening. So it's very odd to me that Spawn's going to be in the Injustice game, but Superboy is not. He's been confirmed not to be in the game. or Damian Wayne is not. And again, I think that's inherently paradoxical that this is a DC fighting game and we can't have Superboy, but we can have these other Power Rangers and all these guest characters, as they're calling them. I think it's a little bit ridiculous, to be fair, in my personal opinion. Again, as somebody that could give you well over 100 characters to be in the game, and the notion that we can't make a solid 28 character roster is a little bit insulting to the DC continuity. But anyway, I do think Spawn's going to be in the game. Firestorm, I think, will also be in the game, and Black Canary, due to her TV show popularity, I think that she'll probably be in the game. To be fair, I don't like her in the TV show. She looks like a discount Black Cat, in my opinion, and I think she's dead. I'm pretty sure I watched that Green Arrow episode, or Arrow as they call it, episode where she died, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, yeah, she's dead in the TV universe, but hopefully they do a comic accurate version of her, and obviously we know what her super move is going to be. I mean, that's just a gimme. Some characters have that, just a gimme super move, what their super move is going to be. And Black Canary's is pretty obvious. Also, I think that Starfire is going to be in the game. She's somebody that I really want, and she's been teased. I mean, she's an amazing character. And is somebody I hope gets a Rebirth series as well. I would love to see a solo Starfire book. There was a 12-parter just before Rebirth happened in the New 52, which I have read, and is just amazing. I mean, Starfire, it's a very kind of hipster book, which, I'm not a hipster. I'm not really in that corner of things. But, it's great. Starfire is an amazing character. Also, I do feel that Wally West, or either as a skin or as a separate character, is going to be in the game. In Rebirth right now, he's just another Flash. He's not Kid Flash. I think they could do him as Kid Flash. I feel like you have to have Wally West in this game because, like it or not, and I like Wally West, he's pretty much the main star of DC Comics right now. He is the center of Rebirth. He is the reason Rebirth has happened. He is Rebirth, basically. And much in the same way that if we're looking at something like the DCEU, which everybody's familiar with, Superman is the thread. He is the heart of the DCEU. In the same way, Wally West is pretty much the heart of DC Comics right now with Rebirth. So, I mean, I think he's got to be in the game some way or another, and I would definitely include it. That's somewhat likely. Less so than something like Red Hood or Starfire, but somewhat so. And I'm really happy with all these characters that I'm able to say that, Red Hood and Starfire and Black Canary have a pretty strong likelihood of being in the game. I think that this character roster is going to blow out of the water the first one, and the first character roster was great as well in the first Injustice game. Also, let's talk about the Joker. I think the Joker is going to be in the game, and at first I said he wasn't because, he's theoretically dead in this universe, but, we have the multiverse here, so, and also I don't think he's going to be a part of the story. True, I don't think so, but I do believe that he will be in the game as a playable character anyway, for multiplayer and stuff like that. Also, Dr. Manhattan or Night Owl. I do believe that Watchmen is going to be in the game for the reasons I just mentioned with Rebirth, right? I mean, at this point, we have a reasonable suspicion, if not a confirmation in the Rebirth one-shot, that the Watchmen is canon to the DC universe. So, Dr. Manhattan, Night Owl. I think that they have I think more than anything else, it's going to be Dr. Manhattan is the primary if I have to pick one. And that's probably what they'll do. I mean, they're not going to port in the entire Watchmen roster, you know what I mean? But maybe one, maybe two, if you're really lucky, if you're a big Watchmen fan, then you might get Dr. Manhattan and Night Owl, but probably just Dr. Manhattan. Okay, so now let's get down to characters that I think are unlikely, and then I'll get into my personal wish list beyond what I've already mentioned, like characters that pretty much I only want and probably aren't going to be in the game, but I really want to see. Some of them, actually, looking at the list, they'll probably be in the game, so we'll see. Anyway, here's characters that are unlikely, and that is Black Manta in the main game. He might be DLC, but he's a stage transition, okay? And no character that's a stage transition or sort of in the background, in the first Injustice, there was tons of those characters that was just chilling in the background, like Martian Manhunter, who was eventually in the game in DLC, which might happen for Black Manta, but he's not going to be in the game. Now, there's my question. If you're playing on the map where Black Manta is a stage transition and Black Manta turns into DLC, isn't that weird where Black Manta hits Black Manta, in that stage transition? That would be kind of odd. I don't know what they do about that. But yeah, I do feel that Black Manta is probably not going to be in the main game. Also, Mira, the wife of Aquaman, probably not going to be in the game. Also, because she wouldn't really play all that differently than Aquaman. She's not known to be a particularly skilled fighter. I mean, she might have a little bit more of a rugged fighting style because she's from Zeebo and, he's all, royalty and stuff like that. But I don't know to be sure. But anyway, she's probably not going to be in the game anyway. Power Girl's probably not going to be in the game. That's just a character that came to my head. Also, Batwoman, I hope is not in the game because I think she's a pretty lame character. So hopefully she's not in the game. She probably won't be. Anyway, here is my wish list of characters that I hope are in the game that I haven't already mentioned, just to keep it brief. I don't want to go too far into it. One is Batgirl. Obviously, I hope Batgirl's in the game. She was in the first one. I hope she actually ships with the game and has a part in the story. I'm going to be honest, I don't think she will be. I think the chances are pretty slim. Maybe like 10 to 20%. But if she is in the game, I'll be very happy. And hopefully they make her a little bit more like Barbara Gordon, who she was in the game, but she sort of she behaved like Stephanie Brown, which I wasn't a fan of. But anyway, I really hope that Barbara Gordon Batgirl is in the game. Next on my wish list is Abracadabra, my newfound favorite Flash villain. And he, in Rebirth, has been a Titans villain. But I really like him as a Flash villain. Mainly, he's a Wally West villain, of course. And I just love the character of Abracadabra. He's in my top 10 villains of all time, for sure. And he gets sort of shafted. I watched Justice League, Young Justice, and he was in there for like half an episode, and he was a super minor villain. And obviously Dan Abnett nailed the character in Rebirth with on the Titans book, so I'm really happy to have seen that. And he is an amazing character. He's a phenomenal villain. I hope he's in the game. Next, I would really like to see Beast Boy, because he would play really interestingly. In terms of like different abilities and how they would do that. I don't really know how. Of course, he would change into different animals as he's playing. So I don't know, like, do you press this combo or that combo to do, like an elephant, jump on? I don't know. It's just so cool. Like, can you jump in the air and then press a certain button to turn into an elephant and like sit on top of somebody? I don't know. I mean, it would be tricky to do. I'm not saying I don't know how the hell you would make that. So, because of that, I think he has a 50% likelihood of being in the game, but that would be cool. Poison Ivy I would like to see in the game, and if not Poison Ivy, then Swamp Thing, because I feel like they would play somewhat similarly. Of course, they're very different characters, but I feel like Poison Ivy would probably be, if I could only have one or the other, and that's what it'll be. They won't both be in the game. I would probably pick Poison Ivy, but I hope that either Swamp Thing or Poison Ivy will be in the game. And that is the conclusion of my personal wish list. Let me know yours in the comment section below. And do you agree with my thoughts on, like what characters we probably will see, what characters we probably won't? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. My name is Slikk. Like the video if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.